Going to call the, can you hear me okay? We're going to call the December 11th Planning Commission meeting together. First, I'd like to do a call to order and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Would you do a roll call?
Mr. Boone, absent. Mr. Davidson,
Here?
Ms. Swords,
Here.
Mr. Celestine, absent. Mr. Villery,
Here.
Mr. Rapp.
Here.
We're going to delay the approval of the minutes from the last meeting because Ellen is on her way back here with those. We'll catch up with that. First and only case for the planning meeting is a request an administrative subdivision referred to the planning commission by the planning department to subdivide square 26 town of Covington into lots A, B, C, and D. Subject property described as square 26, town of Covington, measuring 240 feet on South New Hampshire Street, 240 feet on East 14th Avenue, 240 feet on South Vermont Street, and 240 feet on East 15th Avenue. Previous property address was 711 South New Hampshire, Covington, Louisiana. Petitioner Hampshire House LLC, Casabon, and owner Hampshire House LLC, Janine Casabon.
Mr. Chairman, this is the culmination of the efforts to rehab the old sanitarium apartment complex site, which the owner has demolished the previous structure, much to the pleasure of the neighbors. Subsequently, he advised that he intended to convert the use of the property to single family. In pursuance thereof, he has voluntarily rezoned the property from its previous multifamily RM2 zoning to its current R2 zoning. The neighbor sought that as an assurance that he would in fact go to single family. He has also appeared before the Board of Adjustments and obtained the necessary variance to have lots that are 120 feet front, which is permitted, but by 120 feet deep, when the zoning classification would require 140 deep. The administration is totally in favor of this because he is going to single family.
Thank you.
I see on the plan you have, the zoning is still RM2. Did they already go through the whole process?
It has been rezoned
It has.
R2. Yeah, this was submitted previously, but it is been rezoned single family.
I think it says up here it's waiting for the new plot.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, I'll move, subject
I'd like to
to,
hear,
oh, I'm sorry. Is the
is the
petitioner here?
petitioner here?
Oh,
Come forward, please. State your name and address for the record.
Joe Brown, I live 300 Bordeaux Court, Madison. Anyway, just wanted to tell you all, thank you. I know it's been a 6-month process with the zoning change, the variance, but it's finally the end, so I appreciate it, and thank you, and then to Bridget and Ellen also for helping me and the staff, so.
well, I thank you for all the work you've done, because I know the neighbors and followed it for a long
Yeah,
time.
looking
so-
for Mr. Grimmy on today.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not here with the whole, anyway.
But anyway,
Yeah.
but thank y'all,
Thank you so much.
appreciate it.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions?
None.
I'll make a motion to approve with the update on the zoning classification on the plat.
A second.
I have a movement and a second. Roll call?
Mr. Davidson,
Yes.
Ms. Swords,
Yes.
Mr. Villery,
Yes.
Mr. Rapp.
Yes. Before we close out the planning meeting, let's go ahead and approve the minutes from the November 20th meeting. You all have those in front of you now? Does anyone have any questions?
Move to approve.
I have a
Move
move.
I second.
Mr. Wertz, okay.
Roll call.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Mr. Wertz?
Yes.
Mr. Villery?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
We're going to roll right into the zoning meeting. Could I have a roll call?
Mr. Boone, absent. Mr. Davidson?
Here.
Ms. Swords?
Here.
Mr. Celestine, absent. Mr. Villery?
Here.
Mr. Rapp?
Here.
We need to approve the minutes from the October 17th zoning meeting. Anyone have any comments or concerns? If not,
None.
do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve.
Roll call.
Who seconded? Rapp? Mr. Rapp?
Move.
Move, approve.
Okay. Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Ms. Swords?
Yes.
Mr. Villery?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
Our first case for tonight is from petition,
You are going to do it, oh, okay, okay.
from petitioner Fern Hill Development. It's a request to change the zoning of a parcel of land identified as Lot 1A, Square 5, Division of St. John, Covington, located at the corner of Boston Street and North Vermont Street, from Community Business District, CBD, within the historic town of Covington, Mixed-Use District, HDC, MUOD, to create a new planned combined use district, PCUD, proposed two buildings, each 3 stories, each 40 feet in height. Building 1 will front Boston Street at the corner of East Boston and North Vermont, and will be 27,600 square feet. And Building 2 will be at the rear of Lot 1A, perpendicular to North Vermont, will be 13,500 square feet. The proposed use for the buildings is 6,901 square feet of retail space and 16 residential condominiums. Lot 1A, Square 5, currently has the municipal address of 409 East Boston Street, Covington, Louisiana. Would you introduce your name and
Yes, sir.
address?
Good evening. Jeff Shane of the Jones Fussell Law Firm, P.O. Box 1810 in Covington. I actually represent McMath Construction, which is the prospective general contractor for this project. And we were advised this afternoon that the owner, Lisa Condry Ward, is examining some options that she may have and would appreciate the commission postponing the case this evening. She is not prepared to go forward this evening. We realize, I'm not sure that she'll be prepared next month. I would suggest that when she's ready to go forward, she can give maybe notice to the city, and if it's appropriate, to get it on the agenda through advertisements. In other words, we understand there has to be some lead time. We
I
can't
would
just,
make the motion to table without
Yeah.
date.
I'll move the table.
Second?
thank you.
Second.
So move.
Roll call.
Boone?
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Ms. Swords?
Yes.
Mr. Villery?
Yes.
Mr. Rapp?
Yes.
I'll move on to the second and last item on our agenda. Case number 223-12-0601 ESR. A request to consider Louisiana Highway 21 Planned Corridor Overlay Zoning District Site Plan approval for a 3.95 acre described as Tract A, Section 46, Township 7 South, Rand 11 East, situated in the city of Covington, St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana. Subject property having the municipal address located at 71338 Louisiana Highway 21, Covington, St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana, and is bounded by Louisiana Highway 21 and Gardenia Drive. Proposed use medical as a women's and children's clinic. Petitioner St. Tammany Parish Hospital, Service District Number 1. The owner is the same.
Thank you again. Good evening, Commission. My name's Jeff Shane. I'm with the Jones Fussell Law Firm, P.O. Box 1810 in Covington. Our firm has the pleasure of representing the St. Tammany Parish Health System which is, of course, St. Tammany Parish Hospital Service District Number 1. And we bring to you this evening what we think is a very exciting project on Highway 21 corridor. What I would like to do at this time is to give you an idea how we would like to present the case to you. We have with us this evening Ms. Joan Kaufman, who's the president and CEO of St. Tammany Parish Hospital. I'm going to let her begin by giving you her vision and the hospital's vision of this new facility, which I think you'll find interesting. Then I'm going to follow with some remarks with regard to some of the details of the project. And then I have Mr. Keith Barre with me this evening, who is our architect that's put together our plan package, if you will. And he's going to go through some of the details, and then we'll, of course, be available for your questions. So with that having been said, Joan, if you'd like to come up.
Thank you, Jeff. Good evening, Commissioners. I am very honored to be here this evening. I'm also very honored and privileged to serve as President and CEO at St. Tammany Health System. For many of you that know our health system, we have been established since 1954 and will celebrate 70 years of service next year. So we look forward to celebrating with each and every one of you. What we have tried very hard to do, and really have been driven by the vision of our own Board of Commissioners, is to really keep pace with the growth of our community so that we could continue to meet the needs of our community. So what started as a 30-bed hospital in 1954 is now a 281-bed hospital, and we're very proud of that. But at the same time, our footprint needs to continue to grow. So a couple of years ago, what we noticed that as things were evolving on Highway 21, Forest Manor, what is known as the former Forest Manor Nursing Home, came up for sale. And we thought that was a great location due to the proximity to our main flagship hospital to acquire that property, which we did. We acquired it for the land, but as you well know, the building was in great shape. So we did occupy the space until Hurricane Ida came along and had different plans for us. When Hurricane Ida came along, the building was damaged, and we are going to be bringing that building down. What we did then have the opportunity to do was look at our strategic plan and recognize that while we had just finished cohorting all of our pediatric services in that building, they then were disparate when Hurricane Ida hit. So with a Women's and Children's Center of Excellence, it not only allows us to bring all of our pediatric services back under one roof on the first floor, but allows the second floor, it'll be a 2-story facility, assuming we're able to move forward, so that we can then add OBGYN services to complement Women's and Children's. So we're very excited about the property, very excited about the vision. We certainly hope that if you have any questions of us this evening, that we're able to answer those questions and certainly move this forward. Any questions at this time?
You're going to birth babies there?
We are not. I will tell you, though, we did host to our neighbors, which is about a 300-member distribution list, a meeting at the hospital about a month or two ago. And what was interesting was, as we went through the presentation and answered their very appropriate questions, the last question was, are you going to have a hospital on that site? And we said, no, we have a hospital right down the street. Why would we put a hospital here? And they said, well, you've answered all of our questions then. We support you.
So, no, but so what will it be?
It's a clinic, an
the babies will be
outpatient
born.
clinic.
It'll be an OB,
Yep, so the first floor will be all of our pediatric services, so pediatric clinic, our parenting center will be in that first floor space. We'll have lab and x-rays so patients can have everything done under one roof. And on the second floor, we'll have women's services, which will be our OBGYNs, likely maternal fetal medicine, and any ancillary services that best support women's care. But no deliveries.
no deliveries. Yeah.
No intended
No
deliveries.
intended delivery. For the nurse. Aaron, I had a question.
Both of my kids were born in St. Tammany Parish Hospital, so it's a great hospital.
Thank you.
And the birthing center, you know, that whole thing that they built back in, when was that, the 80s?
Where is everything that was in that building? Has it already been temporarily
Yes, ma'am.
relocated?
So we had just moved all of our pediatric services into the building, as I mentioned, and we also had some back office functions in that site because it was a large site, pretty large footprint. So pediatric services have been dispersed to Madisonville, our clinic there, and also in our Mandeville clinic. And then Parenting Center, if you look at the property, there's a little outbuilding that actually functions quite well for our Parenting Center right now. Once this is complete, we'll raise that building, they'll move on to the first floor. And with respect to women's services, that is something we have not previously employed as OBGYNs, but with the number of community providers dwindling, we really feel like that's something the community needs support in.
So the broad spectrum of female care is going to be youth to elderly?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there enough handicap parking? I can tell you that having elderly parents, I mean in their 90s, my impression in looking at this is that there is not enough handicap parking for a building of this size with this many parking spots available.
Okay. Take a look at that.
And traffic has been discussed in this area? What is the intended increase in traffic in this area as opposed to what it is now?
So one of the things that I think you'll hear about in just a few minutes is traffic on Highway 21, for all of us, we know is
It's all
Challenging.
hellacious. 21 and 190 have just, everyone that moved over after the storm knows every back road, so
mhm.
we don't go the back roads anymore because they're just.
Jeff, do you want to talk about that?
Good questions, and some of the things that I wanted to discuss with you with regard to infrastructure. So since we're on traffic, we have done something kind of over and beyond not only what the city regulations would require, but presumably what the state might suggest, and that is that we're going to explore putting in a deacceleration lane. So as you know, we're on a divided road. And if any of you have been in that area recently, and I was just telling them, I drove it again yesterday, even though I drive through there all the time, you kind of want to focus on exactly what's going on there. So if you're leaving Covington and you're southbound, there's a very nice left turn lane that allows you to facilitate get into the site. If you're coming northbound, and you might know that cars move pretty fast, including yours truly on occasion, but I mean, the middle of the day you can achieve pretty good speeds. The hospital has determined that for the safety of all of those visiting the site, that we hope to put in a significant decel lane, which will coordinate with the state, because of course it's a state highway. So with regard to traffic, getting back to the particulars, our traffic will not conflict with peak, and so the typical barometers with regard to traffic are, are you going to be competing at peak hours? And peak hours probably in that area would typically be, I'm going to guess 6:30 to 8. That may be a little off. And in the afternoon hours, it could be as early as 4, but certainly by 4:30. And you tell me, I know where you live, Keith.
Starts a little earlier with St. Paul's
With
and
school,
SSA getting
with-
out.
Maybe
school
6,
getting out,
something
yeah.
like that. So we will do whatever the state requires as it relates to justification for the decel lane. But we feel fortunate because really that's some improved infrastructure in that area. And I believe that, again, with the type of traffic we have, the hours of the day, people coming for scheduled appointments, it's not as if that we're going to have a great thrust of vehicles at any one particular time, nor will we have a mass exodus at one particular time. That's something Mr. Vilry and I were discussing before the meeting, and he brought up a good point. We have the beauty of having Gardenia to our rear, a public road, which is going to give us not only a back access, if you will, but it will also allow for some connectivity to adjoining properties. So that's something that will take away any concern about people having to get back out to 21 in order to go to a neighboring property, whether it's to the north or the south. Other infrastructure items that I might touch We certainly, of course, intend to meet the city drainage requirements. And in that regard, we've already started some preliminary work where we will have on-site detention. Presumably, it will be in pipes underneath the parking lot, and we will use materials and techniques that will actually enhance the drainage on the site compared to what it has been historically and what it is today. It's our belief that that water is going to leave the site, travel to the south, go under Gardenia as it has forever, and go back eventually toward the bayou and then to the river. So we understand that there will be coordination with the parish as it relates to them having facilities that receive the water from this site, but we're prepared to coordinate those activities. And I feel comfortable in saying that this site, after it's developed, will be a better drain site and will have less impact to its neighbors than it is today, because it's going to be done with modern technique and with the latest code situations. We also, kind of interesting, the site itself, the footprint will be smaller than the Forest Manor footprint. It will be a two-story building. Well, we'll have 254 parking spaces. We can certainly look into the possibility of having more spaces dedicated for those patrons that will need help. In looking at some comparatives between the site now and how the site will be once our project is finished, our footprint will be smaller, our parking area and parking spaces will be greater, our setbacks and planning buffers will be greater. We'll have more landscaping, more variety. As I've mentioned earlier, we believe we will have better drainage, including subsurface detention. I've talked about our access points, both on the highway and also to the rear. Our slab elevation will be sufficient in height as it relates to the crown of the street in Gardenia. And we believe that this will be really an improvement for the gateway to the city of Covington. Certainly going to complement the array of services that the hospital provides to our community. But from an aesthetic standpoint, the purpose of this meeting tonight is a plan corridor review, and it's because the city wisely decided that there needed to be special requirements in place for the properties that abut the gateway or the entranceway to our city. Well, certainly the hospital is a very big part of that in terms of where it's located, but we're now going to have an opportunity to extend not only our brand, but also the image that we have tried to create for the city of Covington, which I think most of us agree is very upscale, certainly very professional, but also has a nice soft feel, kind of the Covington feel that most of us want to see with regard to our institutional facilities. So those are the sum of my comments at this point. If the commission would like, our architect is here and can make a presentation of some of the more finite details, or if the commission feels that they're comfortable with what they've...
Kind of follow up on the question of traffic. How many employees, what's your max employees and shift work? Do they go 8:30 to 11 at night, or?
So they will be straight days, and we're looking at probably around 40.
40 employees? Okay.
So
And
probably
would-
the traditional 8 to 5,
8 to 5, so a normal.
Monday to Friday type.
Now, for the pediatric clinic, sometimes we do run later with those clinics, so parents who are working have the opportunity to bring the children in after.
But banker's hours roughly.
I do want to say that it looks like you've gone above and beyond with regard to the landscaping. Saw that there was only one live oak that you felt needed to go down because he had been disparaged long before this. And the rest, this is a very unusually
Comprehensive plan.
Yeah, it's very
comprehensive.
nice.
Well, a lot of credit goes to our consultants. Randy Altman's with us this evening, who is our landscape architect and consultant. And of course, Keith Barre and his firm did an excellent job in putting together the site plan. So unless you'd like more information, we'll stop here. We're happy
I don't need
to
any more
provide
information. I
what
really think it's a nice presentation. It's really well done. And I think it does resolve, Gardenia in the back does make the connectivity, I think, that is important for Highway 21. So,
Right, and if y'all are going to take this northbound lane and have a
deceleration.
deceleration lane, that helps. I don't know if this U-turn that's currently there, which is impossible to navigate, I've almost been T-boned multiple times by people who think this is a 70-mile-an-hour street, roadway. It really would be beneficial. I mean, working with the state, I think anything that y'all are going to do is going to make an improvement in transition of traffic in that area.
Well, a little further south, as you may remember, there's a decel lane in place already for the development before us.
Right.
So we're encouraged that the state hopefully will allow. It's not a question of funding on our part. We have included the funding in the budget to do the decel lane. It's really a matter of coordination with them. So you can rest assured that if they'll allow it, we're going to have a decel lane there.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez, did you have any comments?
Yeah. I'd be happy to move for approval as presented.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes.
Ms. Swords?
Yes.
Mr. Celestine? Did you say yeah? Yeah, Mr.
Yes,
Celestine?
I'm sorry, I thought you said Russell.
Mr. Villery?
Yes.
Mr. Rabb?
So moved.
That's it. We done?
We are done.